burning up, now the sun gone down. Lights in the distance, a forgotten town. No, I'm on my way, oh, I'm on my way. So stand on the edge of the world with me. He was burning up, now the sun gone down. Lights in the distance, a forgotten town. No, I'm on my way, oh, I'm on my way. So stand on the edge of the world with me. He was burning up, now the sun gone down. Lights in the distance, a forgotten town. No, I'm on my way. Oh, I'm on my way. So stand on the edge of the world with me. He was burning up, now the sun gone down. Lights in the distance, a forgotten town. Now I'm on my way, oh I'm on my way. So stand on the edge of the world with me. He was burning up, now the sun gone down. Lights in the distance, a forgotten town. so stand on the edge of the world with me. Here's burning up, now the sun gone down. Lights in the distance, a forgotten town. No, no, no.
Hello, hello. We here. We here. Oh, we gonna be watching some lore. Let's go. Let me sit proper and guess what? I have an actual water on the side. The other five hydrate redeems. If you see me drinking without hydrate redeem, I'm drinking coffee. So do not mind me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hello, hello. Yeah, we have no background music because I have YouTube videos ready, set up. I picked the things that seemed the most relevant, per se. After the stream, I'll probably send all the video links in the server, in the Discord server, so people can also watch them in their own time. But let me see how we doing. Everything is open. How we doing? How we doing? Blah blah blah. Yeah. Damn, we're doing just chatting stream. Ah, that's so rare. That's so rare. It feels weird not having anything to do with to do on the screen and just gonna be watching. Hi hi. Hi hi. Oh, I'm so happy that I can stream. I was in school today and I had such urge to stim, but I couldn't because I didn't want to do it in front of people. So I just controlled myself. So I'm gonna be on the stream. What was that raccoon sound? No, that's me stimming. I have some vocal stems, and the current one that is the strongest in the. So yeah. Oh, my mic doesn't pick up when I do that one. So yeah, today is YouTube videos. We have 6. You can see on the title, I put every title that was on the thumbnail, on the videos, on the thumbnail here, so it's easy recognizable. We have Resident Evil recap, every Resident Evil virus, which I think I kind of through the lesson that outlined. Like I remember which one is in what series, in the main one at least. I don't know which ones are like separate or which ones are like evolutions of the previous ones, but that's very complicated. Raccoon City Syndrome is kind of offline because I do not understand that one. That's something I never heard before, so it's gonna be interesting. I think what it basically means is like, what was it? Raccoon City only had 5 survivors? Was that it? How many people survived Raccoon City? I think there's only 6. So I think it has something to do that, like, there's something survivors have. Then we have Kennedy's complete timeline, so we get the whole story about Leon, like what's his from the beginning to the end. I included that one just so we know what Leon did between games, or like things that are included on the different games that are I didn't play, or they're like not really able to play them anymore, or like shows, movies, and those stuff, because I ain't doing that. We have what is she hiding about Grace, because Grace I do not know anything about. She's from Revelations. So after you beat Resident Evil 9, what game are you going to play next? Well, Joker, I'll be starting to play Elden Ring. Unfortunately, that's the first thing. I think I will set it up so to play it once or twice a week. And then probably some other games. One game that I really want to play actually is Dave the Diver. I really want to start playing that. So I'll probably start playing that one. Or I can do game votes. I think Elden Ring I'll keep for days when I have energy. Or that feel right for me at least. Why not play Eugenics on stream? I personally prefer to play it on the server, but I can try streaming it too. Though I personally just I just personally prefer to play it like on a Discord server so I can talk to people when I play it. Because it's not like a type of game that is super engaging high. Eugenics is cool to play but boring to watch. Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. It's fun when you play yourself, but I don't think people would have fun watching it, per se. Also, it's quite new, so I think more people are interested in playing it than watching it. But I can do it sometimes. Hi. Excuse him. But I can also do Discord votes for like what game we're gonna play when we play Elden Ring, okay? I won't play Elden Ring every time I stream, okay? I don't wanna do that. I will perish. I'll probably do it like playing every Saturday or something. So we do progress on it. Okay, do we have everybody in here? Because when we start, then, you know, we kinda cannot go back. So if somebody is coming in later, miss just a lot of context. So we kind of waiting if everybody is here for from the beginning. That's why I'm staying here a little longer. And yeah, I have the videos are set up here. I'm just using this because I want to use my thumbnail because I'm very proud of it. Coffee. It's very weird to set up the streams on TikTok, actually. I need to... Because I cannot do just chatting on TikTok, so I just put myself in retro gaming. Because it seemed fairly accurate to what I'll be doing. We'll be watching a lot of videos. I think all the videos combined will be about 2 hours, so it will be like 2-3 hour stream. Be breaking. Should I have a notebook? Should I take notes? Should I take notes on that? I can pull up Notepad. But I'm kinda lazy. You guys take notes. You guys take notes. I cannot be bothered. I cannot be bothered. We're checking everything working. Everything is good quality because the video might be getting a little scuffed later on. Do we got anything else that I need to say? Okay, wait, let me check. What games do I have on my to playlist? Well, I have the Doom, Devil May Cry, Batman, and the Halo series. Yeah, I really want to start playing Dave the Diver. The Entropy Center looks also pretty fun. And recently I got Ender Lilies. Though it's a much smaller game. Oh, I want Power Simulator 2. I did complete the whole entire... That might be weird to say, but I completed the entire Power Wash Simulator. Like, every level and every extra level. And all the free DLCs, because I'm not paying for a DLC to clean Gromit House. Even though it's very funny. But I cannot. Oh, another thing that we can do, pull on Discord. Will you guys be interested in me playing Dino Crisis? I have both 1 and 2. But it doesn't really look like my type of game. Might be fun. Might be fun. You have games to play. Okay. We ready? It's almost 6:30. We're gonna wait for 6:30 mark. I think that will be the best. Also, I am monitoring, so there's no any random polls on my Twitch. I need to always make sure. Now I'm gonna be always anxious about that. Okay, I think everything works. Everything should be fine. Okay. Yeah, we just waiting to hit the 6:30 mark, so we have clear when this started, and everybody has time to. If they want the full lore, they can come in. If they do not care, they do not have to come in. You know, this is just like revising. If you waiting for 9 but don't know like entirely it, or you're like more got into Resident Evil later on, especially since like recent games are kind of discontinued with 9, since 9 picks up from Leon, and we last saw Leon at 6, and 7 and 8 are like Ethan and kind of. Is it completely separate story? We don't know yet if it's completely separate from Ethan or whatever is happening there. But I don't think it would have strong connections. So if you only played like the 7 and 8 and maybe the remakes, you might not know everything. Because I do genuinely think for 9, the most important game to play before 9 is 6. Which is unfortunate, because 6 is the worst game. You cannot change my mind. You cannot change my mind. It's not good. It's not good. Not at all. Okay, no, the story is pretty decent and it has some good points, but it's mostly bad. Story is okay. Any type of game aspect? Not so much. Not so much. And I got very confused. If you do only one campaign, you're gonna miss a lot of clues, and I'm not doing all of them. There were some lines from like the final boss in 6 when he speaks to Ada, and I do not know if he treats her as a love interest, as a daughter. Like, it's very weird. It's very confusing to me. It's worded in a not clear way. And I hope it's not both. Okay, we hitting the 30 mark, so we can stir it up. So we have opened this here, so we see, and here. I have it on max resolution, so I'm sorry if it doesn't look the greatest on stream. And I am in the corner. Hopefully I won't cover too much. Volume should be fine, okay? Okay, let's start watching.
Nice.
The 9th entry in the mainline Resident Evil series is fast approaching. But if you're looking to jump in for the first time, you might be left wondering what the hell is going on.
Where's everyone going? Bingo?
Here is a very condensed synopsis of the main Resident Evil story and everything you need to know leading into Resident Evil
Okay, it's a
Requiem.
little loud.
Warning, the following contains spoilers.
Of course it does. Let's go!
Resident Evil.
Oh, 0.
July 23rd, 1998. Raccoon City Police STARS Bravo team is dispatched to investigate murders in the Arclay Mountains, but crashes before they can reach. Survivor Rebecca Chambers makes her way towards a spooky-looking mansion nearby to find the rest of Bravo team. Before she can arrive, Rebecca, along with her newly acquired convict companion Billy Cohen, arrive at an abandoned training facility, discovering that its former director, Dr. James Marcus, along with former partner Oswald E. Spencer, was responsible for a new biological weapon dubbed the T-Virus, a deadly infection that turns humans into zombies and other monstrosities.
Ugh, that's a gross one.
Resident Evil.
It is very funny how, like, in 0 we got baited like by hearing the radio talking. Wait, I need to make sure of something. Sorry, I'm popping like that, but you know, need to check. Okay, the chat is clear. I just need to check something with the chat to make sure everything is working. And we're doing fine. Okay, let's go.
STARS Alpha Team is dispatched to find out what happened to Bravo Team. The search leads STARS members Jill Valentine, Chris Redfield, Barry Burton, and team leader Albert Wesker to the Spencer Mansion. The gang splits up and discovers the horrible fates of fallen STARS members due to the T-Virus outbreak, and Chris finds Bravo team member Rebecca Chambers still alive.
You.
Chris Redfield, Alpha Team. We're here to rescue you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I didn't play the Chris's story part. That is interesting. I didn't know the Rebecca was having an appearance there. Is Bill dying?
Jill and Chris eventually discover that the Umbrella Corporation, a pharmaceutical company with shady business practices, was behind illegal experiments that resulted in the horrors roaming the mansion's halls. Eventually, once they reach the sinister laboratory, our survivors discover that Wesker, their team leader, is actually a traitor and works for Umbrella in some capacity. Wesker infects himself with a strain of the T-Virus for some elaborate plan that involves releasing a new super weapon, the Tyrant, that swiftly kills him.
Or is it?
After managing to defeat the monster, the remaining STARS team escape the facility. Our survivors return to Raccoon City and begin to learn that the corruption runs deep. They decide to go rogue and investigate a grand corporate conspiracy. Chris heads off to Europe solo, and Jill stays in the city to learn more about Umbrella.
Okay. Okay, so there's a reason why it's like separate like that. Okay, so that's why Chris is in Europe. Because in 5 he's in Africa, and in 2 it says like, oh, I'm in Europe. So that was like, that's not connected. That is not the same place. Please don't tell me that people thought that.
In September 1998, Raccoon City became overrun with zombies. Umbrella sees this outbreak as an opportunity to test its latest bioweapon, sending down the experimental Nemesis, a hulking beast with a rocket launcher that's tasked only with the death of all STARS members.
Ah, that part was scary.
While Jill desperately tries to escape the outbreak with Nemesis hot on her heels, rookie RPD officer Leon S. Kennedy and Chris Redfield's younger sister Claire Redfield both arrive in Raccoon City at the worst possible time.
Ooh. Okay.
After being separated following a car accident, Leon and Claire agree to meet up at the nearby police department. Unfortunately, the building is also infested with zombies.
Oh god.
On her quest to find her brother Chris, Claire runs into Sherry Birkin, a young girl being pursued by a monstrous weirdo who turns out to not only be her dad, but also Umbrella's leading scientist William Birkin.
You gotta be kidding me.
Turns out Billy B had planned to betray Umbrella and sell his newly developed G-Virus, but before he had the chance, he was gunned down by Umbrella. Before dying, William managed to...
Buddy, you have a pistol. You have 4 automatic rifles on you. You are not winning that. You are not winning that. Ever. No way. No way, Jose. No way, Jose. That is not how that would go. He really fought. He really fought. There's a thought there for a second. Not a good one, but still.
Infect himself with the G-Virus, allowing it to spread into Raccoon City through the water system, creating the enormous mess all our characters are now dealing with.
Yeah, so I was right. It was... I was thinking that it got spread by rats, like bites like plague, but... you mean that it went into water system. Okay, that makes more sense. That actually makes more sense how it spread so quickly. That makes more sense.
Nice one, Willie. Meanwhile, Leon runs into Ada Wong, an FBI agent who's seeking the G-Virus for herself to prove Umbrella's corruption. They decide to form an alliance, for now.
Thank you.
Leon and Ada run into Birkin's wife Annette, who is not a big fan of the pair.
No! The good boy.
Leon and Ada follow her to a secret Umbrella underground facility called Nest in pursuit of the G-Virus sample.
I wonder where the G-Virus is.
Claire also arrives at Nest in search of a vaccine for a now infected Sherry. Leon manages to obtain the G-Virus sample but runs into William, who, in his freakish form, mortally wounds his wife. Annette reveals to Leon that Ada is not what she seems and is actually a mercenary who's looking to sell the G-Virus to the highest bidder.
She's gonna sell it.
Ada demands the G-Virus, but before Leon can hand it over, Annette manages to shoot Ada, who then falls to her death, dropping the G-Virus sample in the process.
Okay, one thing that really confused me in this part specifically was how quickly Leon believed the research lady that Ada is a mercenary. Like, okay, fair, Ada is, like... At least Ada had a good cover. Like, she had the FBI card, she behaved, she knew the information, so it was believable. But Leon also took that research lady face value, like her information as face value. When she shot him, she tried to kill them, and she was responsible for this mess. like that doesn't make logic in my head. It was fair for him to question Ada, but I feel like Ada, if she like kind of doubled down instead of like outed herself, like she rolled better persuasion check, that would work. It would work. I don't think Leon would think twice about it. Like, she had a good cover for it.
Claire finds the vaccine and gives it to Annette to cure her daughter, while she tangles with an out-of-control William. Sherry is cured, but Annette eventually dies of her injuries. The facility is set to self-destruct, and Claire, Sherry, and Leon board a train to escape.
Yeah.
Shit! Gotta get out of here.
Come on,
With
Leon.
Nest destroyed, the crew finally manages to escape the nightmare, and on the outskirts of Raccoon City, vow to continue their fight against Umbrella.
So, is it over?
I don't know. But if it's not, we'll stop it. Whatever it takes.
Yeah, you damn right we will.
Okay, that's one that I didn't play. Interesting thing is, like, do you think Claire is gonna show up in Requiem? Because I don't feel like I saw Claire in any other place than 2. Did she will show up anywhere else that we played? Maybe she was in 6. Maybe she was somewhere in 6, and I would have noticed it if I played a different campaign. But I don't know. There is a good chance that she might be in 9. Maybe not as a playable character or important character, but at least like some cameo or some information would be nice, because I don't know if she's dead or alive.
While Jill, Leon, and Claire are dealing with their own issues amidst a zombie outbreak, 8 other Raccoon City residents are also in a desperate fight for survival. Most notably, local journalist Alyssa Ashcroft, an investigative reporter.
Wait, isn't Gray's surname Ashcroft? Wait. What's the Gray's surname? Wait, what's Grace Ashcroft? Yeah. Okay, so this is her, I suppose, mother? I don't know how far back we're talking about it being. But I guess it would be her mom, grandmother, aunt, like related, same surname. So I'm wondering. Okay.
Porter trying to spotlight Umbrella's evil ways. Alyssa manages to escape Raccoon City before its government-issued annihilation, carrying information that could expose Umbrella once and for all.
Okay.
Elsewhere in Raccoon City, Jill Valentine is infected with the T-virus. Fortunately, Carlos Oliveira, a merc who, despite being hired by Umbrella, is on the scene to not only cure Jill, but also help her find an important vaccine. At this point, our heroes discover the unfortunate news that the US government plans to wipe out Raccoon City with a missile strike, hoping to eradicate the infection. Carlos and Jill head to another underground lab, this time creatively called Nest 2. Unfortunately, Nemesis is still alive and very much in pursuit. Jill and Carlos manage to take out the abomination once and for all, and with a vaccine sample in hand, escape the city before the missile strike. Unfortunately, Nikolai, Carlos's former colleague slash secret operative, is waiting and manages to destroy the vaccine vial. Jill and Carlos take down Nikolai, leaving him for dead, and escape just before the missile arrives to completely floor Raccoon City for good.
Okay, one thing that I think... Okay, I need to pull out Notepad to keep everything in my head. Okay, so I think Nikolai is potentially alive. Gray's mom, I guess, was a journalist that had information on Umbrella and escape Raccoon City. Okay, and the Raccoon City survivors is Jill, Carlos, then it's Leon, Claire, Sherry, and I guess the Lisa. Which makes them 6. I don't think there's any more people that actually survived. There's Jill and Carlos that escaped in helicopter. There's Leon, Claire, and Sherry that escaped, I think, through a train. And Lisa apparently got evacuated before she got the Raccoon City anything happened. Okay, is it only me, or does like missile explosions or like even nuclear explosions just look very pretty? Is that just me? I think this looks very pretty. It might be chaos for me.
Resident Evil.
Yeah,
3
Cold
months after
Veronica.
escaping from Raccoon City, Claire Redfield, in search of her brother Chris, attempts to raid a European Umbrella facility before being captured. Claire is taken to an island prison commanded by Alfred Ashford, the governor of Rockfort Island. An outbreak occurs, of course, and after being freed, Claire gets to work looking for Chris and escaping the island. There's no sign of Chris, so after much trouble, Claire escapes on a plane. Ashford, who it turns out has a split personality disorder and often believes himself to be his twin sister Alexia, takes control of the plane remotely and crashes it into another Umbrella facility, this time
goddamn.
in Antarctica. It's also worth noting that during the crash, Claire spends a period unconscious here, during which she has a dream that turns out to be the plot of Resident Evil Survivor 2. Weird. Alfred, believing Claire to be a spy, also escapes Rockfort in a quest for revenge, and after he's fatally wounded, frees his actual sister Alexia, the person he previously believed or wished himself to be, who was cryogenically frozen and riddled with a new virus called T. Veronica. Meanwhile, back on Rockfort Island, wouldn't you know it, Chris has shown up looking for Claire. Instead, he runs into his old pal slash mortal enemy, Albert Wesker.
Long time no see, Chris.
Wesker?
Who's still alive, super strong, and on a mission to find the T. Veronica sample. Turns out his plan was to be killed by the Tyrant so he could reach his full potential of some experimental virus he had or something like that. They both make their way to Antarctica, and Chris finally reunites with Claire, who then defeats a now very powerful Alexia before escaping as the facility, you guessed it, self-destructs.
I like that's always the ending.
Hey, you know that I always keep my promises.
Falls down from explosion on a plane, hits his stomach, and he just looks over and he's like, hey. What a Chad. What a Chad.
Oh, and Chris and Claire vow to take down Umbrella. You seeing a pattern here?
There's still something we've got to do.
You mean...
Yeah, it's payback time. We've got to destroy Umbrella. Now, let's finish this once and for all.
Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, 4. Okay, let's
6
go.
years have now passed, and Umbrella is now long gone due to a government suspension and a stock value crash. Basically, the lamest way possible for a big bad to go out. Leon Kennedy, the once rookie RPD officer, is now a government agent who's sent on a mission to rescue the president's daughter Ashley from her kidnappers in rural Spain. Leon discovers that not only are her kidnappers a cult called Los Illuminados, but they're also infected by a brand new mind-controlling parasite called Las Plagas. During the rescue, Leon coincidentally bumps into an old flame, Ada Wong.
You can stop right there.
Hi.
Leon.
Hi, Ada.
Wouldn't make me use this. Would you?
Who turns out to not be dead and is once again on the hunt for a virus. After rescuing Ashley, Leon confronts the cult's leader, Sadler, and with the help of Ada, they defeat him. bringing down the parasite and all the hordes he infected.
I'll give you a holy body.
I'm gonna be honest, that boss was very
Ada, once
interesting.
again showing her true
Though I
colours,
kinda skipped
takes
it.
the last Plaga sample and escapes by helicopter. But not before, yep, setting the base to self-destruct.
I don't understand. Why would she just...
We're gonna move. Island's gonna blow.
It's gonna what?
Leon and Ashley managed to escape very dramatically on a jet ski and appear to ride it all the way back from Spain to the US. I mean, they probably just went back to the mainland and took a more traditional route, but imagining they jet skied across the Atlantic is funnier. So let's say they did that.
Yeah, it is. Okay, Revelations.
Shortly after the events of Resident Evil 4, we're finally reunited with our original protagonists, Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine, who are now involved in a new investigation into bioorganic weapons, which results in them discovering a new strain of the T-virus called T-Abyss, a weapon that the latest new evil organization Veltro plans to use, infecting 1/5 of the world's oceans. Ultimately, there's a lot of betrayal and evil plots here, with names and organizations that mostly don't feature in the wider series, except for one, the BSAA, short for the Bioterrorism Security Assessment Alliance. Chris and Jill are founding members, and this new organization's motives become the driving force for these characters going forward. Naturally, Chris and Jill survive the events of Revelations, taking us directly into the next chapter of Resident Evil.
Resident Evil.
Oh, 5. Okay.
2 years after Resident Evil 4, our original bad Wesker is still on the loose. Chris and Jill, now under the banner of the BSAA, follow a lead towards Umbrella's founder Oswald E. Spencer, but instead run into Albert Wesker, who has killed Spencer. Wesker, seemingly even more powerful than before and now dodging bullets for fun, is more than a match for Chris and Jill. To save Chris's life, Jill sacrifices herself, sending both her and Wesker to their deaths. Chris, understandably, is a bit sad.
Sad. The T.
Resident Evil 5.
Okay, so that was like a
Almost
flashback
3
part.
years after Jill's death, Chris is tasked with apprehending terrorist Ricardo Irving, who is selling bioorganic weapons in Africa.
Wow, perceptive, aren't ya?
Along with his new partner Sheva, Chris discovers that the locals are infected by a modified Las Plagas parasite. Chris is also informed by
Okay, so that makes more sense to me. Because I was confused about in 5. Like, it doesn't look like a virus. Maybe I didn't pay attention, but the fact that it's a strain of Las Plagas makes sense. I am thinking though, how did they get their hands on Las Plagas? Because Las Plagas was back in Spain. I was in Africa. I don't think... Was there any characters that are both in 4 and 5? It might be Ada. Do we know? Because the 4 ended in such a way that it felt like Ada is betraying Wesker instead of like giving it to Wesker. But then 5 wouldn't make sense, I guess. Okay, so I guess those are connected that way, okay.
by the BSAA that Jill could still be alive. After defeating a mutated Irving, Chris and Sheva learn that Tricell, the company that funds the BSAA, had taken over Umbrella's seedy work in conjunction with a, would you believe it, still alive Wesker, who's been conducting human experiments.
Damn.
Wesker, you are alive.
Unfortunately, one of his victims is Jill, who is also still alive and now under Wesker's control.
God damn.
Chris and Sheva manage to subdue Jill and remove the mind control device before it's too late. Wesker tries to flee on a bomber, which crash lands into, of all places, a volcano.
Nice.
After some brief boulder punching, Chris and Sheva finally kill Wesker once and for all. And all is well in the world, for now.
Locked and loaded.
Suck on this, Wesker.
Your time's up, you son of a bitch.
Bam.
Resident Evil Revelations
Yep.
2.
Claire Redfield, younger sister of Chris and now a member of TerraSave, an anti-bio-terror company, once again finds herself trapped on an island with her new partner, Moira Burton, daughter of Barry Burton. Remember him? He's the Jill sandwich guy.
He would have fit nicely into a sandwich.
This island, an abandoned prison, isn't a nice place to be. While being stalked by mysterious monsters are directed around this labyrinth by someone known as the Overseer.
Who the f is quoting poetry?
After all the typical Resident Evil hijinks involving other survivors, shady corporations and betrayal, it's revealed that the Overseer is called Alex Wesker. Although she does share a surname though, she's not actually a relative of the infamous villain. Stay tuned for that later. But rather a kidnapped child who was snatched for her talents and inducted into the Wesker Project. A sinister plot developed by Oswald E. Spencer to try and develop a race of superior beings using the T-Phobos virus. Another virus, blimey.
I have to destroy you!
Alex has been doing her own experiments on the prison island, injecting a virus into her victims and creating a fresh batch of monstrosities. Eventually, Claire and Moira corner Alex, and now, with nowhere left to run, Alex commits suicide. But not before, say it with me, setting the base to self-destruct.
Yeah. That's a nice pattern that you can just always recognize.
Claire manages to escape, but unfortunately Moira is trapped under rubble. Enter Big Daddy Barry.
Moira.
6 months pass before Barry reaches the island, desperately chasing Moira's SOS signal. But before finding his daughter, he runs into a still alive but mutated Alex Wesker.
It's not enough to live. I want to transcend.
After more survival horror hijinks, Barry eventually comes face to face with Alex, who's now heavily mutated into a final glowing orange target covered form. Fortunately, both a still alive Moira and a returning Claire Redfield with a rocket launcher arrive to swing the odds in Barry's favour.
Let's do it.
In the epilogue, Claire receives a message about her brother Chris Redfield and his jaunt to China to handle another bioterror threat.
Oh, 6.
Tell Piers to look after him.
Right, next up is Resident Evil 6, which features not one, but 3 interwoven campaigns, and it all gets very messy. Deep breath. Let's just get through this.
Okay, before we do that, do we need any more notes to take? Yeah, Claire has a company. So that explains. And Brian is alive? It's Bren and his daughter. I bet they both survive.
Resident Evil 6.
In 2012, a new virus surfaced from a company dubbed Neo Umbrella, led by someone who appears to be Ada Wong.
Oh.
Series newcomer Jake Muller is believed to be the key to the vaccine due to his antibodies. The reason Jake is immune is, well, because unlike Alex Wesker, he's actually Wesker's child.
So, you're Wesker Jr.
Wesker? You lost me.
In 2013, the American president decides that enough is enough with all these bioterror incidents, and it's time to spill the beans about what really happened in Raccoon City. However, before he can, there's another infection attack, and the president, now a zombie, has to be taken down by his loyal agent and series favourite, Leon Kennedy. Ada Wong then arrives and tells Leon that National Security Advisor Derek Simmons is affiliated with Neo Umbrella, and behind the terror attack that zombified the Prez. Leon heads to China in pursuit of Simmons. Chris Redfield, now racked with post-traumatic stress and a thirst for revenge after his team was slaughtered by Ada, also heads to China, as does Jake, because, you know, plot.
Hell yeah!
Right, there's a lot going on here, so let's do this bit really quickly. Chris finds out Jake's true identity, and despite an awkward moment when Chris tells Jake he's killed his dad, they mostly work it out. Simmons dies, Chris's mate Piers is wounded, and then grows a new arm with the C virus and saves Chris. Chris tells Jake he's killed his dad, they mostly work it out. Simmons dies, Chris's mate Piers is wounded, and then grows a new arm with the C virus and saves Chris. Jake kills his boss, who's not worth talking about, and we also find out that there are 2 aiders, one being an imposter called Carla, and that explains all the outfit changes, and finally all the good guys win and go their separate ways. Basically, a lot is going on, and it's not very good, so maybe just ignore this bit.
President would have done the same.
Resident Evil 7.
Okay, that's going into Biohazard. I'm guessing the evil Ada imposter is dead, but with Ada you never know. And Jake is still alive. That's interesting. Jake and Sherry are alive. Good to know, good to know.
In 2017, Ethan Winters is searching for his missing wife, Mia, eventually following the trail deep into Louisiana, where he finds her imprisoned by a very odd and very disgusting family, the Bakers.
Welcome to the family, son.
Bonk.
Ethan is attacked and captured by Jack Baker, and then forced to join in with a vomit-inducing family dinner with his wife Marguerite, son Lucas, and an elderly woman. It turns out this family has been infected by something called mold, some sort of parasitic fungal virus that has the added benefit of resilience, but the downside of making you a bit gross. After escaping and managing to kill hideous forms of Jack and Marguerite, Ethan reunites with his wife and develops a serum to help shake off her apparent mold infection. After trying to flee on a boat, the vessel is capsized by a mysterious creature that turns out to be a girl named Evelyn, a bioweapon that Mia, who it turns out is a secret agent, was tasked with escorting. Turns out Evelyn was responsible for the Baker family's mind-altering infection because she was desperate for her own family. You know, like all bioweapons are, classic stuff.
Listen, the girl just wants a family of her own.
Side note, you can also find a note from Alyssa Ashcroft in Resident Evil 7. Remember?
Ooh, Ace Ashcroft. Okay, that's the mom.
Her from Resident Evil Outbreak. Turns out she's still a jobbing journo who's investigating the disappearances in Louisiana. After injecting Evelyn with a toxin, she reverts to her true form as the old woman at the Baker's disgusting dinner. Turns out that she's been rapidly aging. Evelyn mutates into a giant blob like all classic Resident Evil bosses, and after a final confrontation with Ethan, with a little help from a recently arrived military squad, she's finally destroyed. In a final twist, the leader of the military squad is revealed to be none other than a very different looking Chris Redfield, emerging from a helicopter that's branded Umbrella.
Resident Evil 7.
Okay.
After Ethan escapes, Chris and his team pursue Lucas Baker, who it turns out was never actually under Evelyn's mind control due to a serum provided to him by a new shadowy organization called the Connections. The Connections were behind Evelyn's creation, and they were...
Okay, hear me out. That might be what 9 is gonna be about. I'm gonna know that. Wasn't under the Evelyn mind control. Serum from Corpo called Connections.
were using Lucas to gather more data on her. But he also planned to betray his masters anyway. You know, like every Resident Evil villain ever.
Lucas!
Lucas, come
After
here.
finally working his way through a series of traps, Chris manages to kill a mutated Lucas and finally returns to base for an urgent call.
Game over.
You kind of waited with that one.
Resident Evil.
Over 3 years later, Ethan and Mia's Eastern Europe-based family Bliss is violently interrupted by the Hound Wolf squad, led by returning and turtlenecked Chris Redfield, who now oddly looks like he did before Resident Evil 7 again. Weird. Chris and his goons shockingly and mercilessly gun down Mia and then kidnap Ethan and his child, Rosemary.
No! What? Why?
Ethan wakes to find himself stuck in a rural village and runs into terrified villagers who've been cowering from a horde of marauding lichens. Ethan, on a desperate quest to find his missing daughter Rose, works his way through the abandoned village and into a nearby castle inhabited by vampires, most notably an enormous goth mummy called Lady Dimitrescu.
Of course.
Oh, be careful what you wish for, Ethan Winters.
Lady D, along with a group of oddities, belong to a worshipping cult for Mother Miranda, a godlike, mold-infected leader, who, in a quest to bring her daughter back to life, ended up becoming consumed by the infection and spreading it to her 4 elevated lords and houses. In his journeys, Ethan discovers a crest for these 4 lords that looks eerily similar to Umbrella's logo. Hey, remember them? Ethan's journey to rescue Rose and take down Miranda's lords eventually leads him to Chris Redfield. Chris explains that the Mia he gunned down wasn't actually Mia at all, but rather a shape-shifting Mother Miranda, who considered Ethan and Mia's daughter Rose to be the Evelyn successor based on the fact that both her parents were infected by the mold.
She changed her appearance and pretended to be Mia. Seems she also survived being shot, so now I'm here to finish the job.
Rose was born with unique properties, and after Miranda finally confronted Ethan in her true form, she explained that the mold would help rebirth Rose as her daughter Eva. Miranda then, without hesitation, rips out Ethan's heart.
Miranda, you coward! Come out and face me!
Don't worry. Your death will come quick. You will join the Megamycetes records.
Chris and the Hound Wolf squad launch a full assault against Mother Miranda, battling through her waves of monsters and destroying a large mold barrier that's now protecting her. Once inside, Chris and the team discover a large mold root that's called the Megamycete. That turns out to be the source of the mold that's plagued the village, but also the Baker family in Resident Evil 7. Turns out, the Megamycete not only infects its victims, but it also absorbs their DNA and memories. Chris plants a detonation device, but...
You know what that reminds me? That entire cloning thing in 6. So I think those are connected.
Before destroying the mold once and for all, decides to pass through Miranda's lab for one last lore dump. He discovers the entirety of Miranda's plan and her quest to find a suitable vessel for her daughter Ava's consciousness to be reborn into. Miranda was also responsible for the creation of Evelyn, working with the connections. Later in the lab, Chris discovers the biggest shock of all, when it's revealed that Oswald E. Spencer, founder of Umbrella, was actually a student of Miranda and began work on the progenitor virus based on her teachings. To honor this, the Umbrella logo took inspiration from Miranda's 4 Lords symbol that Ethan discovered earlier. Not only was Miranda responsible for everything in Resident Evil 7 and Village, but she was also the inspiration that started it all. After Chris finally works his way through the exposition hallway, he discovers the true and very much alive Mia, who reveals that Ethan also isn't quite dead yet. It's revealed that Miranda didn't kill Ethan, Jack Baker did, way back in the start of Resident Evil 7. Ethan was infected by mold, which had been keeping him moving this entire time, and explained how a man could regularly reattach body parts with just a bit of healing juice.
Yeah. That is overpowered healing juice.
Despite this, Ethan is falling apart, but can muster enough for one last stand with Mother Miranda, where upon defeating the big bad once and for all, he manages to pass his daughter to Chris and take ownership of a detonation device that would destroy the village, the mold, and himself once and for all. Ethan triggers the explosion as Chris, Mia, and Rose escape.
Yeah. Oh, the DLC that
in
we
2037, a now much older Rose is learning about her abilities, one of which is the power to connect with a surviving piece of the mold root recovered from the incident 16 years prior. After jacking in, Rose enters a new realm, full of the memories from the victims the Megamycete had consumed. Rose then takes a jaunt through a version of the village, guided by a spirit called Michael, who ends up being Ethan's remaining consciousness. She's also taunted by the trapped consciousness of Mother Miranda, who is desperate to escape the realm. With the help of Ethan and her newfound abilities, Rose manages to defeat Mother Miranda and share one last moment with her father before she returns to the real world.
They really hide his face with his arm.
In the aftermath, Rose visits Ethan's grave, while shadowed by a mysterious agent who calls her Evelyn. And after threatening him, Rose reveals that she has abilities that even Chris doesn't know about.
It's just a joke, Rose.
I mean, very insensitive joke.
Chris doesn't know I can do.
Stand down.
And that's it, the entire plot of Resident Evil that matters before you dive into Resident Evil Requiem. Yes, we skipped over some bits here or there, but there's a lot to cover in the wacky world of Resident Evil. Now, excuse me while I set my base to self-destruct and vow to get my revenge.
Okay. So that's a basic outline of the story. Okay, the notes that we took from this one. We know who survived. Now I know who Grace is. They're like, why is like she's special? Because she escaped the Raccoon City. And I think that's what gonna connect her with Leon. They both like, no, she wasn't born yet. But I guess she has like the genome or something like that. Let me guess, she's gonna have the antibodies. And she'll be able to cure the leftover people that are mutated. Or worse, or the opposite. Brennan and his daughter are still, like, alive. But Brennan, they weren't, like, in the thing. And there's new corporation called Connections.
Filipinos, krispiga kakor, 100%
Hello,
extra
ads.
choklad.
Filipinos, dare to share.
Lovely ads.
The only way to do great work is to love what you do. But what if your job was to wake up every day and prevent global bioterrorism, even if it didn't know about it? What if humanity's continued existence hinged on your every effort, however small? What about the friends lost, or those who died in the line of duty? Could you still claim to love your work? Such is a question that probably haunts Leon Scott Kennedy, a veteran of the Resident Evil series, who's been present since its first widely publicized outbreak, resulting in Raccoon City's destruction. Throughout the decades, we've seen him as a specialist, an agent for the Division of Security Operations, the DSO, usually sent in alone to accomplish seemingly impossible objectives. A man of principle, yet one who effectively sold his future to really begin his journey of combating bioterrorism. How did it all begin? How did he go from one potentially world-ending incident to the next? From rookie police officer to a weathered veteran in Resident Evil Requiem. Before he even knew of Umbrella Corp or Raccoon City, Leon's childhood was one of tragedy. Raised as an orphan due to the death of his family, who were seemingly involved in a crime, it was a police officer who ultimately saved him. As the years passed, Leon decided to follow the same path, giving back to the world and serving as a protector. Idealistic? Well, sure, but it was a reflection of his human side, not out of a desire for fame. Training at the police academy and graduating at 21, he chose a rather unorthodox place to start his career. After the mysterious murders that occurred in the Arklay Mountains.
Hello, Yaru! Yaruki-chan! Welcome. We're watching Resident Evil lore. Right now we're going through Leon S. Kennedy's story. Oh, hello, Glorp! I'm not having a silent there, like, right, do I? I'm looking at my notification like, the lady didn't rate me, right? I see you, Glorp, and I recognize you from the lady's stream, so instantly, huh? But yeah, we're watching everything that prepared for Requiem, to prepare for, like, Requiem, all the story, all the recaps, all the things that are important. I just saved up a few videos to watch. We don't have anything that is leaks, okay? We don't have any leaks, any information about the game. This is everything that is before the game plus trailer, okay? So don't worry, there isn't spoilers. This is just to collect all the information and put our brains together to think how the 9 is gonna turn out. And because I only know the main games, I don't know any other extra games. So I need all the context. And I don't read any notes. That's also it.
Which weren't a mystery to anyone with even the loosest knowledge of Umbrella, he wanted to go to Raccoon City's police department. Whether it was fate...
And you know what? Actually, the first thing that this video said was already something I didn't know, that Leon is an orphan. I actually didn't know that. But okay. you know what? We love ourselves a Batman, low-key Batman origin story.
Or because he truly wanted to be a hero, it's what ultimately began his journey into the abyss. Hey, that's hell you're walking into. On September 29th, 1998, Raccoon City was lost. Between the National Guard retreating, Umbrella sending its own T-103s in, and the undead roaming without any restrictions, it was a nightmare for any of the survivors who were slim and fading fast. But Leon knew none of this. Heck, our man woke up in the afternoon and didn't even have a place in the city to stay. Yes, the same place where he was posted as a police officer. Late for his first day of work, he began the long drive to Raccoon City, venturing through Ark Lake County and eventually reaching by nightfall after passing through some blockades. It wasn't long before he happened upon a gas station and found an abandoned police cruiser. Following the blood trail, he finds a wounded clerk and watches a police officer get bitten by a zombie. Despite shooting it in the head, it rises back up, prompting even more gunfire. Leon slays it and proceeds to leave, happening upon other zombies when the front door suddenly opens to reveal an unknown civilian. He instructs her to get down and shoots the zombie behind her, but even more rise from the dead, prompting the two to take the cruiser and escape. The woman introduces herself as Claire Redfield, who came to Raccoon City to search for her brother, Chris. They enter the city and happen upon a blockade. Zombies swarm the cruiser, but even worse is that a fuel truck is bearing down on them. One crash later, resulting in the cop car's destruction, the two are separated and plan to rendezvous at the police station. However, after days of fighting a hopeless battle, trying to help the city's people despite sabotage by their own chief, the police station held very few survivors. Leon would run into an injured Lieutenant Marvin Branagh, who saved him from a pursuing zombie and informed him of a secret passage that could lead out to the station. Despite wanting to get Branagh to a hospital, the latter ordered him to get a move on, lending him a combat knife. He also gives him one last instruction: uniform or not, take out the infected or run. Do not hesitate.
Yeah,
Despite
that's how
briefly
he got
reuniting with
infected.
Claire, she's stuck on the outside, and he doesn't have a key. Separating once more, he finds the secret passage leading underground and returns to help Marvin. The latter isn't keen on that, though, telling Leon that it's too late and it's all up to him. While traversing Raccoon City Police Station, he continues to combat zombies and other monstrosities like a mutated William Birkin, not to mention avoiding the nigh unstoppable T-103 Tyrant.
Yeah, the
sent by
Tyrant
Umbrella.
is so scary.
Of course, there were others caught up in the Raccoon City incident, including Ada Wong, who saves him from a zombie dog. While claiming to be an FBI agent, her true identity was that of a mercenary working for Umbrella's rival company, directly under Albert Wesker, to obtain a G-virus sample. After witnessing the death of Ben Bertolucci, a journalist who had dirt on irons, Leon obtains a parking permit to open the way forward. He's saved from Mr. X by Ada and ends up tagging along with her, eventually learning about her mission to take down Umbrella. Naturally, he wants to help, especially witnessing Robert Kendo and his daughter's fate. Venturing into the sewers, the two eventually happen upon Annette Birkin. While intending to shoot Ada, Leon jumped in front of her and he took the hit. After tending to him, Ada pursues Annette, who knocks her into a pit. Leon eventually recovers enough to give chase and save Ada from a returning William. Helping with her wounds, the two learn of the massive Nest laboratory beneath Raccoon City and take to the tram to find the G-virus samples. With Ada's injury making her a liability in her own words, she asks Leon to recover a sample. Fighting off the infected researchers, he recovers the sample, and as the facility's self-destruct sequence begins, William arrives once more. Before Leon can do anything, Annette appears and fires at him. She then explains everything that happened, how William ended up mutated, before he suddenly rises back up and injures Annette. Leon fights back and manages to neutralize Birkin, well, for the time being, before tending to Annette. She reveals that Ada isn't an FBI agent, but a mercenary who will sell the G-virus to the highest bidder.
Okay. Are there Resident Evil nerds in the chat? Probably they are. All of you guys are Resident Evil nerds. You're watching me watch YouTube videos on the Resident Evil lore. It makes no sense to me that Leon believed Annette's words about Ada. It makes no sense to me. He took her at face value. It doesn't make sense to me. That's like the biggest that I had with Resident Evil 2. Like, Leon, I do not understand what's going through your brain, buddy. I guess it's like intuition that he felt that like Ada, there's something suspicious about Ada.
Despite Leon's disbelief, he confronts Ada, who suddenly appears and asks for the sample to verify it. He tells her what he learned from Annette, leading to Ada pulling a gun on him. While he does the same, neither is willing to shoot the other, but Annette is more than willing to shoot Ada. She falls over the collapsing bridge, and despite Leon grabbing hold, she falls, but doesn't die. Leon reconnects with Claire, telling her to evacuate from the facility before getting cut off. He runs through the nest and encounters Mr. X once more. While evading him and descending on a lift towards the train platform, it appears once more, this time mutated. With no other choice, Leon fights him off but receives some assistance in the form of a rocket launcher. Observing him from the rafters is Ada, who tells him that they'll call it before departing. Reuniting with Claire and meeting Sherry Birkin, Annette's daughter, the trio seeks to evacuate Raccoon City by train. Things seem to be going well until a heavily mutated and enormous William attacks. Claire and Leon work together to defeat Birkin, who is left to die in the ensuing explosion. Finally, they were home free and Sherry was safe. Of course, several hours later, Raccoon City is bombed, leaving no survivors that we know. After everything that they'd been through, Leon commits to making Umbrella pay for the disaster, although he later admitted that he was just happy to have escaped alive. Still seeking her brother, Claire would depart to look for him. While Leon is still wounded, he continues looking after Sherry, and eventually the US Army finds them on the city's outskirts. Unfortunately, despite escaping one nightmare, he learns that the government isn't on his side. As it sought to persecute Umbrella while hiding its own ties in acquiring bioweapons from the corporation, it viewed Leon as a threat. Nevertheless, it still wants to dismantle the company's assets worldwide to prevent another such incident and formed the Anti-Umbrella Pursuit and Investigation Team under STRATCOM. Because he displayed such incredible tenacity and survival instincts, the government wanted to recruit Leon as an agent.
Okay, so this is the Wii exclusive that has the information about the training Leon went through. Okay. There's a lot of information though. But okay.
He was thus given a choice by Adam Benford, a key Department of Defense official who would become the US president much later. With Sherry revealed to have been infected by the G virus, which Claire cured with Annette's help, she was now a vital subject. Leon could either join the government's new agency to ensure her safety and keep quiet about Umbrella and any US involvement, or take his chances. Without any hesitation, he opted for the former. He didn't know it at the time, but this began his seemingly never-ending battle against Umbrella and its legacy. The offshoots, the splinter groups, and simply those who got hold of its BOWs for their own nefarious purposes. On the one hand, Leon fully intended to pursue the corporation for its role in Raccoon City, even though he admitted to simply being a rookie cop at the time with little else going for him. However, he was essentially working for an entity that was just as guilty, and that too, under duress. Whether it's to ensure her safety or out of personal shame, he would fall out of contact with Sherry over the years. In the game, fate isn't without a sense of irony though, and it wouldn't be the last time he saw of her, or as it turns out, Ada Wong. Human weapon. As part of STRATCOM, Leon received specialized training, in case you ever wondered how he became so skilled in CQC. His marksmanship improved drastically, as did his stamina, making him a highly skilled BOW hunting machine. He even learned how to use knives, which Major Krauser of the United States Special Operations Command taught him are far more efficient for those close encounters. In a way, he was like the US government's answer to an Albert Wesker or even a Chris Redfield. Efficient, cool-headed, and willing to go to any length to finish a mission. Well, almost any. Despite being drafted by the government, Leon would not abandon his morals, especially when it came to helping others. Case in point, when Claire is captured by Umbrella and sent to Rockfort Island, she contacts Leon. While he couldn't help directly at the time, he passed the information to her brother. And while he wouldn't directly venture to investigate Umbrella's facilities on Sheena Island in November 1998, PI Ark Thompson was sent on his behalf. Then again, given how the latter would lose his memories, get caught up in a T-virus outbreak, battle against various infected, and fight the Hypnos tyrant to escape, you have to wonder if they're still on good terms. Leon would busy himself with other missions for Stratcom, but his biggest would be in 2000.
Wait, let me pause. Hello. I remember you. I remember seeing you every now and then. Thank you for liking the live. Watching Lord. I'm just pausing for a little bit so I can talk. I can see the TikTok chat. It just doesn't show up. I have it open on the side though. So don't worry, I see you. I might be a little late to respond though, because I'm trying to pay attention to everything.
2002. Operation Javier in South America. The main target was Javier Hidalgo, a cartel leader who owned several bioorganic weapons and released them into the wild, spreading the T-virus to the locals. Leon was sent to find and capture Hidalgo, assisted by Krauser, who had to pursue other means to rendezvous with him. Battling past infected humans and creatures, they happened upon a massive BOW, which slayed their guide and escaped. The duo then found Manuela, later revealed to be Javier's daughter. Though terminally ill in the past, she was infected by the T. Veronica virus to ensure her survival. Her mother, who suffered from the same disease, was not so lucky. Infected by the T virus to help counteract the terminal illness, she would mutate into a monster. Unable to dispose of his wife, who didn't attack him or Manuela, Hilda was confined within the family's mansion. Furthermore, Javier took to kidnapping young people from the village, using their organs to prevent Manuela from mutating. Leon and Krauser must eventually fight the mutated Hilda, with Krauser suffering a severe arm injury in the process. Nevertheless, they succeed in defeating the BOW, who bids farewell to her daughter. Of course, before they can evacuate, Javier decides to infect himself to take Manuela back, turning into the V complex. The pair would catch up to Javier, who regained enough of his senses to be put down, rather than cause his daughter any more suffering, who was using her mutated, flammable blood to help Leon. With the mission accomplished, Leon, Krauser, and Manuela left the region. The latter was taken into custody while Krauser was discharged due to his injury. However, he seemingly found a solution: Albert Wesker, whom he heard about from Leon. News of Krauser's apparent death would reach Leon in the coming months, seemingly due to an accident, but that was far from the case. In the Darkness Falls scenario, we learn about Krauser's inner thoughts and how he feels jealous of Leon. Thus, Operation Javier becomes his main means to prove his worth. After his injury and Javier's transformation, Krauser believes this is the path to true power, thinking Leon a coward and a fool. Of course, as we later learned in the RE4 remake, Krauser had other reasons for pursuing power. Before meeting Leon, he was apparently sent in with a squad and emerged as the only survivor because the government left them to die. Following his discharge from the army, he would fake his death and set out to find Wesker and maybe the answer for his hunger for power. While Leon has yet to experience the full extent of Umbrella's atrocities, it's clear that the corporation's impact goes beyond Raccoon City. Leon is no longer the bright-eyed rookie who wanted to make a difference. Instead, he's going from one mission to the next and having to execute former humans, a reminder of those that he couldn't save. And he's pretty good at it, as we'll find out in later games, and other interludes leading up to his return in Requiem, but it's nothing he necessarily takes pride in. There are some bright spots. He can still crack jokes at least, but even with Umbrella's bankruptcy and subsequent dissolution, it was clear that other threats lay in wait. For the next 2 years, his services would remain required, but he wouldn't truly showcase just how far he'd come until 2004, when the US President Graham contacted him about a kidnapping. His daughter, Ashley, had been abducted on her way home from university and subsequently discovered to have been taken to Spain. It couldn't have happened without someone on the inside, so fearing a leak, Graham asked Leon to save his daughter. Without any hesitation, young Mr. Kennedy leapt once more into the fire, determined to sacrifice himself if need be to rescue someone. The Descent. Though assigned 2 officers from Madrid, they were slain by the villagers. After this, and dealing with no shortage of hostile mobs, Leon finally learned of the parasite, which the villagers had been infected with, turning them into hostile killing machines. And while Leon had field operations support agent Ingrid Hunnigan to coordinate with, he was effectively on his own against an army. While we've detailed the discovery of the Nyepaya kingdom and how it led to the founders of Umbrella discovering the progenitor virus, the parasite also apparently originated from here. How they ultimately made their way to Spain is unknown, but Sadler knew where to find it. By manipulating and infecting Ramon Salazar, Sadler had total control. Leon eventually finds Luis Serra, but before he could obtain any information, Torres Mendez, the village chief, appears, knocks him out, and injects him with the parasite. Upon awakening, he's chained to Luis, who reveals that he saw someone, potentially Ashley, being dragged away by the enemy. Though working together to break free, Luis escapes first, leaving the key for Leon. Afterwards, he contacts Hunnigan, asks for a background check on Sarah, retrieves his gear, and begins to pursue Ashley. Of course, it's not long before he runs into Mendez again, who chokes Leon, but suddenly, a mysterious person in red fires from outside the window. He drops Leon and slowly exits the room. Shortly after, our main man learns from Hunnigan that Luis used to be a researcher for Umbrella, and he's none too pleased. Eventually, our hero locates Ashley and discovers that she's infected. Naturally, Leon isn't interested in sticking around and continues battling against the enemies while protecting her. He eventually fights against Mendez, who's mutated. Leon emerged victorious. Unfortunately, he runs into Salazar, who says that Ashley must be there so that the United States will listen to Sadler. Fighting off Salazar's troops, Leon loses Ashley after she's seemingly mind-controlled and attacks him, but soon reunites with the person who saved him from Mendez, Ada Wong. She tells him to forget about Ashley and walk away, which he naturally refuses before resuming the hunt. Eventually, Leon reunites with her and reveals his infection. After consoling her and asking for a heads up before she tries to stab him, he's contacted by Luis, who he needs his own rescuing. Along the way, Leon and Ashley end up separated, with Salazar capturing the latter again and tossing Kennedy down a pit. He reunites with Luis, who gives him a suppressant to halt the infection. While Leon doesn't fully trust Sarah, given his past with Umbrella, Luis tells him that he wants to make amends, or something like that. They fight off more enemies before venturing through the underground tunnels via a minecart. Luis subsequently reveals that he was working with the enemies, and while helping Leon and Ashley doesn't make up for it, he's not keen on seeing anyone else get hurt. Luis is killed by Krauser, thought dead after Operation Javier. The latter steals the parasite from Sarah's corpse and reveals his role in Ashley's kidnapping before engaging in a knife battle with Leon. He reveals that during Operation Javier, seemingly before he and Leon met, as covered in the Darkside Chronicles, his unit was abandoned by the government, and he emerged as the sole survivor. Anger at those in charge for their decision, along with everything else that happened, led to his betrayal and thirst for power as he sided with the enemies. The two engage in a knife fight, and while he gets the better of Leon and seemingly closes in on the kill, Luis intervenes despite his fatal injury, shooting at Krauser. Krauser retreats while Leon tends to Luis, who gives him a key to his laboratory, which he has tools for removing the parasite. Leon's left alone with Salazar and does the sensible thing, shoots him, and discovers a speedboat that will take him to an island with the main research facility. Ada shows up with the keys, and they venture forth. As Ada splits off to accomplish her own task, Leon eventually finds Ashley. Unfortunately, he also runs into Sadler, who reveals his plan for Ashley to infect her father. With control over the US president, Sadler could effectively take over the US. First, he needs to deal with Leon. Controlling their parasites, he incapacitates Leon and tries commanding Ashley to shoot him, but she manages to resist. Sadler makes his exit with Ashley in tow, and Leon gives chase. Eventually, he comes across Krauser and is forced to fight him. The latter uses a parasite to mutate himself, but Leon still survives, killing his old ally. Leon and Ashley head to Luis's lab and remove the parasites. He then comes across Sadler once more, who knocks out and captures Ada. Setting her free, the two battle against him, eventually defeating him. Of course, Ada takes the parasite for herself, and while inviting Leon to join her, he declines. The island begins to blow up, but thanks to a jet ski that Ada left behind, he manages to escape with Ashley. Overall, the journey reinforces two key aspects thus far. First, even when doing what's right, there is no guarantee that everything will go his way. And second, not every outbreak or potential bioorganic weapon has to come from Umbrella or its remnants. The rest of the world is just as capable of manufacturing horrors as it is of turning ordinary people over to its will. Still, it was another important lesson for Leon, which makes his role in Requiem all the more vital. He's battled terrors driven by science and humanity, and has emerged victorious. The problem, however, is that there's no winning, only cleaning up and fulfilling his role for the government. And no matter how many scars, both physical and mental, that he's received, the next bioterrorist threat was somewhere, waiting. A career built on containment. 2005. Bioterrorists attack Harvardville Airport, causing a T-virus outbreak and extensive chaos. Leon's timely arrival, combined with Claire Redfield, who also happened to be at the airport, allows for the situation to be brought under control. However, by the end, Leon also helped implicate WP Corporation, which had used the entire incident and a preceding outbreak for its T vaccine. 2006. Pittsburgh, where an investigation into the death of a security guard, Monica Posey, led to the reemergence of the T-virus after she turned. This quickly spiraled into a hunt for Riley Queen, the leader of a movement hell-bent on reducing the world's population. After more infections, quarantines, and mass havoc, Leon and his team finally apprehend Queen. 2006. Washington, D.C., an unknown hacker accesses the White House's files. Leon and 3 Secret Service agents are tasked with protecting President Graham, but quickly discover a new outbreak, as numerous staff members become infected. Running into Claire again, Leon was alerted to Penumstan and their link to the hacked files. En route to the country to investigate a research facility in a submarine, which is subsequently infected, Leon faces betrayal and a conspiracy masterminded by the U.S. Defense Secretary, Wilson. 2011. Adam Binford, the man who recruited Leon to Stratcom in the first place, is now president. The Division of Security Operations is formed in the wake of the Anti-Umbrella Pursuit and Investigation Unit, collecting the most elite agents and having them answer only to the president, his sword in the battle against bioterrorism. Of course, when a civil war erupts in the Eastern Slav Republic and bioweapons are involved, who else does he turn to but Leon? He also runs into Ada Wong, who remains her usual mysterious and manipulative self. If that wasn't enough, he also fights off against 2 tyrants, eventually emerging victorious, though heavily injured. While Leon's legendary status is cemented at this point, he's still essentially on his own. Other competent individuals come and go, but between the betrayals, mass outbreaks, killings, destroyed families, and so on, it's all he can do to keep going, long past the point of no return. No matter how many crises he's become involved with, the next is only a hair's breadth away, and few would truly understand the tragedy of Raccoon City or the lingering regret that he feels. Global agenda. However, almost 15 years later, President Binford reveals his shocking plan to Leon. He wants to reveal the truth about the Raccoon City incident and what happened, finally acknowledging the government's involvement with Umbrella. Unfortunately, before he could tell the world during a speech at Ivy University in Tall Oaks, he was infected by a new virus, the C virus, forcing Leon to kill him. Fighting alongside Helena Harper, a Secret Service agent, Leon realized that it was akin to Raccoon City, old wounds flaring up at the worst possible time. Nevertheless, he followed Helena to a hidden bioweapons facility and learned of her involvement in Binford's assassination, how her sister, Deborah, was abducted to force her cooperation. This was all at the behest of Derek C. Simmons, the man on the committee who suggested Raccoon City's bombing and is now the National Security Advisor. His organization, The Family, would research bioweapons to strengthen the US, and viewed Binford as a threat to be eliminated. And if that wasn't enough, an organization called Neo Umbrella has emerged. Responsible for a terrorist attack in Edonia about 6 months prior, they're led by Carla Radamez, posing as Ada Wong after experiments conducted to transform her into a clone. Her goal is revenge against Simmons, and her next target is Lenxiang in China, which is also where the former is heading. After having to put down Deborah following her mutation from the C virus, the two got in touch with Hunnigan. Learning that Simmons was listening in, they escaped, only to find that Tall Oaks had been destroyed, covering up any evidence. Nevertheless, Hunnigan got in touch again, telling them that Simmons was en route to China. Asked to report them as dead, Leon and Helena ventured after him, and between dealing with a C virus outbreak on the plane and eventually crashing, it was far from first class. However, this also put him close to Jake Mueller and Sherry Birkin. An emotional meeting was cut short due to their mission priorities. As it turns out, Simmons was Sherry's boss in the DSO. Not only that, but he was the one who kept her in protective custody after the Raccoon City incident. That G-virus sample that allowed the family to develop the C-virus, well, it was derived from Sherry's blood. In a way, this entire exchange highlighted just how bioterrorism had evolved, with those perpetrating the atrocities so far ahead in terms of information, manipulation, and subterfuge, not unlike the original Umbrella. Teaming up with Jake and Sherry to take down Ustanak, Leon and Helena would eventually be separated with plans to rendezvous at Kunlun. Before that, however, they spotted Carla and pursued her to a confrontation with Chris Redfield and Piers Nivens. Both were after her for the tragedy in Edonia, but before Chris could pull the trigger, Leon intervened. Despite their friendship, the two struggled and had a war of words, with the former wanting to kill Carla, while Leon said she was a key witness and revealed that Simmons was the mastermind. While Carla made her escape and Chris pursued, promising that he wouldn't hurt her, Leon and Helena continued to Kunlun to eventually confront Simmons. Sherry and Jake would join them, and after some tense admissions, Simmons attacked them. However, it turns out his family wasn't forever, and he was shot from long range and infected with the C virus. While Sherry and Jake made their escape, Leon and Helena pursued Simmons. After a citywide battle, they finally defeated the mutated Simmons, but it's far from over. Not only were Sherry and Jake kidnapped by Neo Umbrella, but the latter launched a missile with the C virus that detonated over Tachi, which Chris was too late to stop. Leon would learn that Carla was dead, unaware at this point that she wasn't the real Ada Wong, and he set forth with Helena to help whoever they could. Eventually, with the BSAA's help, they escape and arrive at the Quad Tower. Disoriented by a gas tanker explosion, shades of his arrival in Raccoon City, they would be saved by none other than the real Ada Wong in a helicopter. They then discover Simmons is alive. He mutates again, but with Ada's assistance, they manage to subdue him once more. He's far from done, though, battling Ada on the roof of the building. Leon and Helena arrive in the nick of time and would dispatch Simmons yet again. And good thing, because Simmons was back again. Using the helicopter that Ada left behind, they managed to electrocute him with a lightning rod. Despite this, he still would not give up. With the help of a rocket launcher that happened to be lying around in the helicopter in classic Resident Evil fashion, they repelled Simmons, sending his body careening to its final death. The aftermath of all of this, including Jake's blood being the key to neutralizing the C virus, Leon ultimately makes good with Helena, despite her involvement in Binford's death. What you should remember going into Requiem.
Okay.
Quote, "When I was a kid, I used to think about the kind of man I'd grow up to be. I never thought my life would turn out this way." The sad part about that statement is how true it rings, especially as Leon ventured to stop another outbreak in 2014 in New York, and then another in 2015 in Alcatraz, where he at least had assistance from Jill Valentine, Rebecca Chambers, and Claire. In
Okay, so
Resident Evil
Rebecca is still
Requiem,
relevant.
however, he's all alone, once again. Yes, he crosses paths with Grace every so often and has someone assisting him over radio, but he's now come full circle, back to the origins of his lifelong trauma. Even the death of the one who ordered the city's destruction, or the dismantling of the corporation responsible, hasn't proven to be the end. And yet, as much as it exacts an emotional toll, it hasn't dulled Leon's desire to help people. Well, except that one nurse in the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Center, but I digress. While Leon is at his strongest and most capable in Requiem, he's not some superhuman that's raised his power level through each new outbreak, but more of a tempered blade, forged through conflict and capable of shattering at any moment. Whether that happens or not, and whether we witness a hero's legacy coming to an end, there is no denying that he's most suited for the task. Maybe he'll find some emotional closure in other ways. But if Leon's story proves anything, it's that there's only one thing more terrifying than walking into a nightmare, and that's walking out alive to meet the next.
And that'll be about it for this one.
Okay, nice. Leon is badass. He's really badass. It is... I don't know how many missions he has on his record, but it has to be quite a bit. Like, I think so far in the videos, they at least mentioned like 13. Like, goddamn. Oh, there we have Raccoon City Syndrome. Like, goddamn. Leon has quite a resume by now. It's quite a surprising that he's still alive after all this. But you know what? Respect. Respect. How much? We are 1 hour and 14 minutes? That long? Right, because I probably paused so much and yep, and we were waiting half an hour, that's why. Hello ads! Lovely ads.
Dags för montera säng-era.
Okay, but we are like kinda halfway. The fourth video is shorter.
Era? Ja, med Vinteds nya kategorier kan du finna massor av second hand. Från mode till barnkläder, böcker och mer. Känns som nytt igen. Vill du ha? Köp.
We might give up on the virus's summary.
6 survivors of Raccoon City, all dead from the same thing.
What? 6 survivors. Yeah, there's 6 survivors. What? Wait, what?
That's 6 now. 6 survivors of Raccoon City, all dead from the same thing.
Yeah, that's not good. Leon, we're running out of time.
Sup, buddy? Hi, Richie. We're just watching YouTube videos. Yeah, a group of Polish people bullied me. Nothing new. Nothing new. Nothing new. That's just how Polish people interact with each other. Don't overthink it. They only know how to be mean.
After 30 years of fighting bioterrorism, the Raccoon City survivors and heroes face a new threat, unlike ones from past Resident Evil entries. This time, their enemy is not lurking around the corner, in the dark, or rushing them in a large group. It is within them, and has been since that fateful night, around 30 years ago.
Raccoon City has been literally wiped off the map. Current reports have the death toll surpassing the 100,000. Our hearts go out to those poor civilians.
What do you mean nothing new?
Of Raccoon City.
It happens, man. Okay, what is the Raccoon City Syndrome? They're gonna
This
really
pandemic
need
has
to...
spread faster than any disease in modern history.
During the Raccoon City destruction incident in 1998, the survivors that lived still face societal difficulties and stigmas. Despite escaping the ordeal, they're still suffering. But now those very survivors have been found dead of a mysterious new disease. The FBI launched an investigation into the matter, as 6 victims have now turned up, who have all been survivors of that fateful disaster. And it cannot be a coincidence.
More and more, I find myself wondering if it's all worth fighting for.
They photoshopped edits about me and made funny gifs of me.
Without fear?
Yeah, nothing new. That's not even bullying.
Yeah, it's worth it.
That's just how it goes.
The fact of the matter is, in a town outside of Raccoon City known as Rhodes Hill, research has been done on the disease, which was eventually named Raccoon City Syndrome, or we can say RCS. This research was done at the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Center, and their findings are crucial, not just in stopping this deadly condition, but understanding more about the immunogenic T virus that began the outbreak all those years ago.
Okay.
Not you too. Sorry.
Also known as latent onset T virus syndrome, RCS stems from prolonged exposure to the T virus, and the condition can manifest with or without fluid contact or injection. Residual T virus within the body of someone who has been exposed to it can actually manifest over a long period of time without showing signs that it is even there. As this condition is still being investigated,
so it's
there is no effective treatment or cure, meaning that once it manifests, the results are fatal until some sort of solution can be found.
Okay, what will we have? That Lisa, Grace's mom, is one of the survivors. I'm guessing that she died, and Lisa is special because that would mean that her, like Grace is special, because Lisa then had her when she had the disease, but she was asymptomatic, so she would naturally have antibodies. Or she is some kind of like special. I'm not sure. But I think that's what would make her special.
He got bit! He damn well got bit!
It has not been fully confirmed what counts as exposure exactly. It is a fact that the Raccoon City incident began with cannibal murders outside of the city, which were later found to be infected animals, test subjects, and residents living in the outskirts as a result of the T virus leak in the Spencer Mansion facilities. Anyone bitten or that comes in contact with infected fluids has been shown to contract the T virus. In these cases, the virus will start showing symptoms in a matter of hours to a few days, depending on the strain. Without a proper vaccine, the infected will transform into a zombie without fail. This is also spread by infected rats following the botched Operation Nest Wrecker event on September 22nd, 1998. Other than direct contact or injection, it is also a fact that the Raccoon City water supply became tainted with the T virus, causing widespread infection to those in the city without ever having contact with a zombie or BOW. It is very possible that some people who ingested the water received a small T virus infection that would not show symptoms initially, becoming the phenomenon known as RCS in the coming years.
Ew. Shoot him.
Guy's a maniac. Why'd he bite me?
It has also not been ruled out that the virus may be airborne, or at least can spread through the air for a period of time after release. RCS progresses through a series of stages, as shown from later investigation. The first stage, known as Stage 0, is the dormant stage. The T virus lies dormant within the affected host due to the presence of specific antibodies during this stage. The virus is not completely suppressed, which results in it building an immunity to the antibodies over a long period of time. The next phase, known as Stage 1, is the activation stage. It is during this period that the virus becomes active and noticeable symptoms will begin to show. These symptoms include the appearance of black, bruise-like marks on the body, as well as general malaise and fits of coughing. Progressing next to Stage 2, which is known as development, the black marks spread further across the body, and numbness accompanies these marks in the affected areas. The marks also extend internally to the host's organs, sometimes causing the vomiting of blood, also known as hematemesis. The final stage of RCS, Stage 3, is the terminal stage. By this point, the black marks darken and spread across the entire body. Movement becomes difficult due to intense pain and severe fatigue. The vomiting of blood becomes uncontrollable at this stage, and unfortunately, patients that progress to this stage typically die within 1 to 2 hours. Until an effective treatment or cure can be found, those inflicted with RCS face a ticking clock before they expire.
I'm gonna scrub this virus from the face of the earth. You chose the role of rescuer rather than fighter like me. You chose a path that your brother and I couldn't follow.
Many survivors of the Raccoon City destruction incident went to fight bioterrorism, or aid the victims of it, dedicating the rest of their lives to preventing others from experiencing what they did in the nightmare that was Raccoon City.
I've always valued your friendship, Leon.
Leon S. Kennedy is one such survivor who became a highly trained and well-respected agent of the Division of Security Operations, or DSO, which fights bioterrorism under the control of the United States President. Leon has been confirmed to be suffering from RCS.
Yeah.
While investigating the mysterious deaths of 6 Raccoon City survivors, Leon follows the evidence to the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Center. Up until this point, Leon has been concealing his hands with gloves, preventing anyone from seeing symptoms in the form of black marks. He was most likely in stage 1 and has been so since the dark marks appeared on his hands. Early on in his investigation, Leon removes one of his gloves to see a very pronounced black mark developing across his hand. As he had on gloves before, he most likely already had some indication that he was infected, but he seems horrified at the sight of his hand once the gloves come off, so there must be an increase in symptoms, likely bringing him to stage 2. If Leon is in stage 2, that means that the black marks are beginning to extend to his internal organs, and he will likely be showing signs of hematemesis soon. By the time he joins forces with FBI agent Grace Ashcroft and travels back to the origin in Raccoon City, Leon has black marks on his neck. It is very probable that he is either close to or has reached the final stage in the RCS process, and that is not good. Once he officially begins this stage, he is estimated to have about an hour or 2 before succumbing to the virus, and that ticking clock has never been so fast. This is most likely what we presume to be Sherry is talking about when she says, "Leon, we're running out of time." When Leon was just a rookie cop on his first day in Raccoon City back in 1998, he remained among the infected in the city from the night of September 29th to the morning of September 30th. In addition to his exposure time, he was also shot while in the city sewers. Though he survived the bullet wound, having been treated by Ada, having an open injury in the sewer of an infected city probably greatly increased his chances of catching the T-virus. This is just one explanation of how he maybe picked up the virus while the Raccoon City incident was occurring, because we do know that in canon, they were not bitten.
Okay, fair enough.
Don't shoot! Get down!
While in Raccoon City, Leon crossed paths with Claire Redfield, who came to the city looking for her missing brother Chris.
Live around here?
No.
Oh, is Claire infected too?
My brother. He's a cop too.
Claire spent as much time in the city as Leon did, but she never received an open wound. It is currently unconfirmed if she is symptomatic with RCS, but based on her time in Raccoon City, it can't be ruled out.
Ada!
Leon also encountered professional spy Ada Wong while in the city, and Ada, like Leon, also experienced an open wound during the events of Raccoon City, meaning she is also most likely at a higher risk of developing RCS than Claire, putting her possibly in the same boat as Leon.
Okay. So she probably will make appearance too, just in this case more for herself than mercenary
While it is unknown at the time
work.
if she's infected or if she even will make an appearance in Requiem, it would be cool to see her come back and be suffering from the same thing as Leon, to team up perhaps one last time.
I hope Ada gets some gray hairs. She'd look so good.
Security.
Sherry Birkin, you were in Raccoon City.
How do you know that?
Claire,
Wait, are you Chris?
my sisters told me all about you.
On the other hand, Leon's teammate in the present is most likely Sherry Birkin, whom Leon met in Raccoon City when she was just 12 years old. Sherry is seen wearing gloves on her hands in the present, so she is most likely infected, possibly still at stage 1. Sherry lived in Raccoon City as a little girl and was the daughter of 2 Umbrella scientists. Her exposure time is longer than Leon or Claire's, but Sherry was directly infected with the G virus when her mutated father implanted her with a G embryo. Sherry came very close to mutating, but she was saved with a vaccine by Claire before this could occur.
Ow! Ow! Ow, 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 ow. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. What the hell? Cherry! What the hell? You Wolverine?
The hell?
She had been documented as having G-virus antibodies in her body after the incident, resulting in her developing special healing properties.
I'm on protective detail.
Yeah. I heard you became an agent.
She eventually left government custody to become an agent with the DSO, where her rapid healing abilities served her well in the field. But it is not known how or if this will affect her RCS condition.
I feel like that will make her
she was exposed
mutate.
longer than Leon, but her progression is slowed due to her G-virus abilities. This isn't confirmed yet, and we won't have an answer until we do.
My dad was a scientist. He was working on BOWs when I was exposed. Luckily, I was treated with the vaccine before it was too late. But the virus adjusted and adapted. It's been a part of me ever since.
What happened to your father?
His research killed him.
There is one thing I do know. I have a job to do, and I'm gonna see it through.
Claire Redfield's brother Chris was not in Raccoon City during the chaos, but he was present in the mansion incident that preceded the city's downfall. And he did live in the city for 2 months with the infected water supply before leaving for Europe in September. Chris's time in the mansion may have exposed him to RCS, but this has also not been confirmed. The T-virus strain that leaked in the mansion and the city are different, and we don't know which of the two or if both of them cause RCS at this time.
I don't
but
think
it wouldn't be
will
too far-fetched to think that Chris probably will be suffering from the same thing.
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
Fellow survivor of the mansion incident, as well as the Raccoon City destruction incident, Jill Valentine, spent the longest amount of time in the city and had the longest time exposed to infected carriers of the T-virus. In addition, she was directly infected with the T-virus by one of the BOWs, the Nemesis T-type.
Yeah.
And spent several days unconscious before receiving a vaccine. The vaccine in Jill's situation was a unique one, developed by Dr. Nathaniel Bard of Spencer Memorial Hospital.
Don't feel any pain. But that's what bothers me. If I can't feel anything, then what does that mean?
Don't give up, Jill. I'll take care of you. Whatever you do, don't let that virus beat you.
I'm not a savior. It's just my duty.
This is not the same vaccine as Daylight, which others were cured with, including Alyssa Ashcroft, Grace's mother.
Everyone, listen to me. The serum's almost ready. Come to the lab. Hurry!
It is not known exactly how Dr. Bard's vaccine would affect the T-virus, but it is definitely possible that the T-virus over time will still incubate and develop into Raccoon City syndrome. Following her escape from Raccoon City, the curing of the T-virus in Jill's body had a great effect on her, in that it reduced how fast she ages. As recently as 2015, Jill appears the same as she did when she was in her early 20s. It is currently unknown if Jill's condition makes her more or less susceptible to RCS at this time, or immune to it altogether.
Okay, that's interesting. So Jill might not be aging very quickly. I don't think it will make her immortal per se. Probably it's just like she doesn't age, or it's just like auto-regeneration type of thing.
Du kan inte förutse mensens och nej-ögonblick. Men med Always Ultra är du alltid redo. Här för dig, always.
I'm here, baby. Please be alive.
Other mansion incident survivors, Barry Burton and Rebecca Chambers, are also possible candidates for the RCS condition. Barry Burton was in the mansion as long as Chris, but he did leave Raccoon City afterwards to relocate his family to safety. It's possible this prevented him from getting RCS, but Barry is also the oldest member of the group, and we do not know currently if RCS is affected by the age of the host.
The name is Rebecca Chambers, but that's Officer Chambers to you.
Rebecca Chambers, on the other hand, spent time on board an affected train, a whole night in the Infected Umbrella Executive Training School, and a whole other day in the Arclay Mansion, increasing her exposure time. It is not known if Rebecca fled the city immediately afterwards or not.
Oh right, she was also canonically bit.
But even if she did, there is a moment during her time at the training school that Rebecca receives a pretty bad mauling from an infected BOW, known as an eliminator. After being bitten, it was never addressed if this infected her or not. It seems likely that it would, which could certainly give her RCS, but again, we don't know for sure at this time.
I would like Rebecca to reappear, please. She's so funny.
Of the main survivors we have mentioned so far, quite a few have also received additional infections, other than the T virus, further complicating the situation when it comes to determining how they will react to RCS if they have it. Leon was injected with the Las Plagas during his time in Spain looking for the president's kidnapped daughter in 2004. It pushed him to the brink, but before losing control of his faculties to the parasite, he had the plaga destroyed thanks to a removal process specifically engineered to purge the parasite from the host's body. Therefore, it is most likely not going to be a factor in Leon's RCS case, especially since parasitic and viral processes are very different.
How are you feeling?
Like $1 million.
If our simulations were correct, it should start working in half an hour.
Rebecca suffered infection by the A virus in 2014 during the New York bioterror attacks before being cured at the last minute with a vaccine.
Oh.
Claire Redfield, you're coming with us.
No, there must be some kind of...
Claire was infected with the T Phobos virus during her imprisonment on Sign Island in 2011. On top of these external infections, Chris, Claire, and Leon were all injected with a new strain of the T virus in 2015 by terrorist Dylan Blake before receiving a vaccine made by Rebecca.
This'll sting a bit.
Hey, I told you I couldn't leave you in a Carlos's world. That would just be too cruel.
There are other Raccoon City survivors out there such as Carlos Oliveira, Billy Cohen, and the cast of Outbreak that we haven't talked about.
Sure, I'm not human anymore. But just look at the power I've gained.
Oh.
And some that have been since killed by other means, such as Albert Wesker.
Time's up, you son of a bitch.
Right. That uppercut.
Carlos and Billy haven't been shown to have any other exposure possibilities other than it being airborne, as Carlos arrived in Raccoon City right in the middle of the city's fall, so he probably didn't have a lot of time to drink the water, nor did he receive any bites.
No thanks, Dollface. I've already worn handcuffs.
Billy Cohen was only present for the time he and Rebecca were in the training school, and he also showed no signs of being bitten.
Well, what should I do with the rest of my life? I'll think about it after I take a nap.
The Outbreak cast were all infected at the start of the incident, most likely from either drinking water contamination or the infected rats spreading the virus around the city. At the end of Outbreak, a cure known as Daylight was produced, and it was that vaccine that became mass-produced following the incident. It is likely they all received this vaccine, but that is an assumption as it has not been explicitly shown or stated. At least one of them, as mentioned earlier, Alyssa Ashcroft, was proven to be alive after the incident, but she was murdered by Victor Gideon 8 years ago. At least, that's what we're being told. Our heroes that survived the Raccoon City incident have been shown to pull off incredible feats over the years. They have survived the most harrowing events again and again. Are they able to do this just because of video game logic, or is there more to it than just game has to game?
Okay, that's interesting theory.
Perhaps their amazing abilities come from their exposure to the T virus. That is, of course, just a theory, something I wanted to throw in here at the end, but as the ramifications of RCS have yet to be completely revealed, it does hold a little merit.
Oh, nice, Leon.
Leon, we're running out of time.
So the big question becomes, which of our beloved characters are suffering from RCS? Some of them? All of them? Only time will tell, as the release of Resident Evil Requiem is just a few weeks away as you're watching this video.
It's over.
Yes. Yeah, it's releasing soon.
Finally.
One thing I will say here before we get out of here is that Nakanishi has brought Outbreak back into the center focus. Alyssa Ashcroft and her daughter are the main focuses of Requiem, other than, of course, our boy Leon S. Kennedy. The fact that the drinking water had all of the characters infected at the beginning of Outbreak might be the path that they're going with. That does leave a little bit of plot holes that we need to figure out, and I'm sure Requiem will do a great job at explaining them. Only time will tell.
Okay.
As a newspaper reporter, I had been involved with bizarre
Yeah, I need to give up on the last one. That will take too long.
I had to learn the hard way that my past experiences were useless. When a horror movie becomes reality, a person's sanity can disappear instantly. I was moving on pure survival instinct.
If you
Nice. Oh, that's a lot. Okay, but I kinda understand RCS now. It is an interesting plot to give to 9. I do think makes it cool. It does feel like it's stepping away from like the zombie thing a bit. But it might be for the best. If not, we're just gonna do one more. Because the videos just keep repeating like the same information. Last one.
In this video, we'll be breaking down everything you need to know about Grace Ashcroft before Resident Evil 9, including story, gameplay, and themes. So guys, without further ado, let's get right into it.
Okay, because she's a complete mystery to me.
Grace Ashcroft is an FBI intelligence analyst, someone whose job is normally done behind a screen and not at the end of a gun barrel. She's the daughter of Alyssa Ashcroft, an investigative journalist and one of the very few civilians who survived the 1998 Raccoon City incident. That alone places Grace in a very specific position within the Resident Evil timeline. Unlike characters like Leon, Chris, or Jill, Grace didn't choose to fight bioterrorism, but instead she grew up around it, around the silence, the cover-ups, and the unanswered questions left behind by Raccoon City. By the time RE9 begins, Grace has built a career at the FBI using intelligence and analysis instead of field experience. Even her own superiors describe her primarily as a good technical analyst, reinforcing the fact that she isn't meant to be on the front lines. And that distinction matters, because Grace represents something Resident Evil has rarely focused on, showcasing the perspective of someone who lived after Raccoon City. Not the one who escaped with their guns blazing, but the ones who grew up in its shadow. For Grace Ashcroft, the nightmare did not begin with monsters, but something far worse. In 2018, Grace was staying at the Wrenwood Hotel with her mother Alyssa Ashcroft. At the time, Alyssa was deep into an investigation, one she refused to walk away from, even knowing the risks. Grace, still young and largely unaware of how dangerous her mother's work had become, was left alone in the room night after night as Alyssa followed leads that would eventually get her killed. One night after Alyssa had returned to their room, the warning signs began and came quietly at first. First, a phone call to the room, and then a sudden power outage. Sensing that something was wrong, Alyssa begins to escort Grace out of the building in hopes to escape potential disaster. But before they were able to retreat, things quickly escalated. In the hotel lobby, Grace watched as a staff member was murdered in front of her by a hooded assailant. Panic instantly set in. Alyssa understood immediately what was happening, and did the only thing that she could. She tried to get Grace out. They hid and ran, but before they could leave the building, Alyssa was presumably stabbed to death by the same assailant, right in front of her daughter. Grace survived, but the damage was permanent. She didn't just lose her mother, but she also lost any sense that the world was predictable or safe. And worse still, she never got answers. The man who killed Alyssa vanished, the investigation stalled, and the truth was buried. That night at the Wrenwood Hotel didn't just traumatize Grace, but it froze her in time. And after 8 years go by, the fear is still there, lingering inside her. In the years following her mother's murder, Grace Ashcroft doesn't disappear from the story, but she leans into it instead. Driven by unanswered questions and unresolved trauma, Grace decides to join the FBI, not as a field agent, but as an intelligence analyst. Her role is built around data, pattern recognition, and investigative analysis. Grace does receive firearms training as part of her career, but even within the Bureau, her limitations are clear. Her superior Nathan Demsby openly views her as a capable technical analyst, not someone meant for the frontline operations. She has the knowledge, but not the experience. But that line eventually gets crossed anyway, because while investigating a suspicious death at a government office tied to a newly emerging disease, Grace is summoned to Demsby's office and reassigned. What begins as a routine analytical case quickly expands into something much larger, being a nationwide pattern of unexplained infections and fatalities. The latest incident leads back to a familiar place, being the Wrenwood Hotel, the same location where her mother was murdered 8 years earlier. Despite having no prior field experience, Grace is sent directly into the investigation. She's forced to confront both the professional gap she's never had to face before and the personal trauma she never truly escaped. When Grace arrives at the Wrenwood Hotel, she's greeted by a local police officer who escorts her to the entrance, briefing her on the situation as they move through the alleyway towards the building. But for Grace, this isn't just another crime scene. It's where her past begins to bleed into the present.
Ugh. That's what happens when you try to watch at high resolution. Oh, thank you for smart detection. Actually, thank you for smart detection, Automa.
This isn't.
Oh, yep. Of course, leg. Wonderful leg. Let me finish watching this, please.
Just another crime scene. It's where her past begins to bleed into the present. As the investigation unfolds, Grace starts uncovering details that cut far deeper than she expected. The first is a file, one from her mother Alyssa, hid behind a painting 8 years earlier just before her death. Then comes something even more unsettling, a photograph of Grace herself, taken on the very night her mother was murdered, proof that someone had been watching and waiting. Not long after this, everything begins to spiral out of control. In the middle of her investigation, Grace is abducted by Victor Gideon, one of the central figures behind the unfolding nightmare. From there, she's taken to the Rhodes Hill Chronic Care Center, where Gideon plans to extract her blood and conduct experiments on her, as he believes Grace's blood is the missing key to freeing Elpis, a classified US government operation that's somehow tied to the emergence of the new and deeply mysterious disease. Grace eventually awakens strapped to a chair mid-extraction, her blood already being drained. And in the midst of this, through sheer panic, instinct, and desperation, she manages to break free. Now alone, injured, and terrified, she begins exploring the care center, searching for answers and a way out of the building. And that's when she encounters something far worse, a towering stalker creature that developers are referring to as Mama. This unsettling creature begins to pursue her throughout the facility, and as Grace desperately tries to escape, the enemy eventually corners her and ultimately drags her away. But at the last possible moment, Leon S. Kennedy arrives and opens fire, incapacitating the creature and managing to save Grace. As they finally cross paths and begin to converse about the situation, Victor Gideon initiates a full lockdown of the facility, forcibly separating the two in the process. Concerned for her safety, Leon hands Grace his DSO-issued Magnum called Requiem, and the pair split up to find another way out. From that moment on, Grace continues her journey alone through the Chronic Care Center, driven not just by survival, but by a single burning need to finally uncover the truth behind her mother's death and the curse that has followed her ever since. Unlike most RE protagonists, Grace is designed to overcome danger through wit, awareness, and ingenuity, not raw combat skill. The developers intentionally made her more timid and fearful than past leads, emphasizing vulnerability rather than confidence. Narratively, Grace's connection to Raccoon City was not incidental, but foundational instead, because as Requiem ultimately leads players back toward Raccoon City, the team wrote Grace's backstory to tie directly into its legacy through through her mother, Alyssa Ashcroft. Gameplay-wise, she is deliberately designed to mirror the player's own sense of vulnerability. Limited resources, restrained combat options, and reactive fear all reinforce the idea that survival comes from caution and intelligence, not dominance. Compared to Ethan Winters, Grace is also far more expressive. Where Ethan often acted as a quiet surrogate for the player, Grace wears her fear openly. She panics, hesitates, and reacts, allowing her emotional transparency to make her feel more human. Grace Ashcroft is introduced as a very different kind of Resident Evil protagonist. Like Ethan Winters before her, Grace lacks real combat experience. Compared to characters like Leon, Chris, or Jill, she is noticeably more timid, more fearful, and far less equipped to deal with the horrors in front of her. That contrast is intentional. Grace exists to recenter Resident Evil around survival horror and not power. This philosophy directly shapes how she plays, as Grace's action options are deliberately limited. She isn't designed to dominate encounters, but to endure them. In fact, the game even includes a classic mode built specifically around this idea, where saving is restricted to ink ribbons, mirroring the tension and scarcity of older Resident Evil titles. Her vulnerability is more reinforced through this perspective. Grace behaves differently depending on whether you're playing in first person or third person. In third person, when chased, she can visibly panic, sometimes stumbling or even falling outright depending on the situation. In first person, however, this behavior is removed. The goal there is immersion. You're not watching Grace panic, but instead you're feeling it. She's also generally faster in first person, further encouraging that more up-close and fear-driven viewpoint. Inventory management continues this design philosophy. Grace's inventory is far more limited than Leon's iconic attaché case. Every slot matters. While it can be upgraded later, early on you're constantly forced to make difficult decisions about what to carry and what to leave behind.
Okay, let's finish.
Crafting returns as well, but with a new twist. Grace requires infected blood as a core resource, obtained by taking down enemies either through combat or stealth. Stealth kills are especially important, as new tools like the hemolytic injector allow her to eliminate enemies instantly by causing them to violently explode, preventing post-mortem mutations. It's efficient but costly, and reinforces the idea that every encounter is a calculated risk. And there you have it. That is everything you need to know about Grace Ashcroft before Resident Evil 9.
Okay, so we watch all the videos. What we're drinking today, I drank coffee like at the beginning when we were waiting, and I have a bit of and I have water. So that will be all. Today we're just like revisiting lore. We only will be playing on Saturday and Sunday. I have like almost full week of school, and you know, I will be just waiting, and I need a little bit of a break before 9. I'll be honest. I need a little bit of a break. Coffee, batu bag, and water, like nice. Okay. Do not call me out. That just happens. Let's rate somebody, and then I'm going. I'm gonna send you guys to Gremlin. He's playing Eugenics. So you guys have fun with that. I love Eugenics. Eugenics is so fun. So thank you for watching. I'll see you guys around next time.